Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Wilson, and as I reflect on what Amy and Jacob spoke about, I think something all of us have touched on and have appreciated is how real they were with us. I especially was able to have a sigh of relief when both of them admitted that not every single decision and everything they do is perfectly tied to theory. It brought me some relief to realize, okay, they're not a walking textbook. I don't need to be a walking textbook. Yes, we need the educational and theoretical background, but what makes us successful in our careers is our passion and our desire to help students. And if we can be able to have an educational background as well as just that desire to help, we'll be successful. So there was something specifically that Jacob said just at the end of his talk that really struck me and kind of brought this idea to my attention of there being two different types of decision-making moments. Really, I know there are hundreds of different ways to make decisions, but they can kind of be grouped into these two different moments. The first is a well thought out, methodical, larger amount of time decision-making process, and then the second being an on-the-fly decision. And he kind of talks about it being using your gut. So this first one of these well thought out plans, a lot of us will encounter these. So it might be a program proposal, which goes along with our assignment number 2. That's a great example of that, where Blake specifically took theory to implement a program proposal, and he asked all of us to do the same. And so that's one example where we were given time to think about it, to research, and to really ground it and tie it directly to theory. There's also times where we will be assigned an assignment to use money, whether that's any type of budget that we're given. I know that James Morales has talked about the process and all of the thinking and the intentions that went behind building the ARC, the Aggie Recreation Center. And I know without a doubt that he put a lot of thought and there was a lot that went into that, and I'm sure a lot of that was tied to theory. There may be new clubs created under our jurisdiction or new policy that we need to implement. And all of these things, there's time, whether it's days, weeks, months, or years, that we can pull the textbook off the shelf. I know that we're allowed to do that after this class, that we can pull these textbooks back out and do the research to specifically link these things to theory. It's not expected that we memorize the textbook, but that we are now aware of these things and that we draw back on them later on. And so, again, this first type of decision-making process, we can take the time to slow down and truly use theory. Now, the second type is the on-the-fly interactions, and that's when we have to use our gut and our judgment, but hopefully everything that we do is grounded in just the memory of theory and our foundation. So sometimes when a student comes into our office or presents a problem to us, first and foremost, we need to show compassion and patience and have a level head and not have a volatile reaction one way or another. But sometimes we can buy time. We can just show compassion to that student and then say, I'll have an answer for you by the end of the day or the end of the week. And some situations can be handled just in that moment. But if we reflect on Amy's buckets that she talked about, so if we understand undergrads and we've done the work to know what makes them successful and how we can effectively help them, then it makes those on-the-fly interactions, it makes them more meaningful and more impactful, and then in the end we'll be able to truly help these students. So anyway, I hope that made sense, and I really loved these presentations, so thank you for listening.